What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of J Spark Garage. In this episode, we're going to start a new tradition. With every project, requires some new tools. So with this episode, we're going to go over the new tools required for our next project. Our next project is going to be on this car right here. The Chrysler 300 developed a problem with the AC, and with the temperatures rising, it's time to fix it. What happened was, basically, the AC clutch decided to puke its guts. It's got melted plastic coming out of it now. We don't know if it's the compressor, if it locked up, or if the clutch just gave out. So we've got a whole onslaught of parts to put into it. But to do that requires us to have some additional tools. In the past, I've always just borrowed a vacuum pump. But for this episode, I'm going to show you what I've purchased and the things I'm going to use to fix the AC. Isn't it common? Every time you go to use the workbench, it's got a bunch of crap on it. So we got to get it cleaned off, and then we'll get into the tools. Stay tuned. Alright, so we've got somewhat of a clean workbench now. What I'm going to go over, we're not going to do a whole testing or anything like that. We're just going to go over the tools I purchased for this specific job. I've always borrowed an AC vacuum pump whenever I needed it from friends or whatnot, so I decided to purchase myself one. Part of the repair, because we don't know if the compressor locked up and sent particles and all through the lines, we also got a flusher here and some flush. This I got through Rock Auto when I purchased the compressor, condenser, dryer, and evaporator valve. This I got through Amazon, and this I got through Amazon. So I'm going to pull this all out of the package so we can check out what's inside. Alright, so to start off with, we are going to take a look at this. Basically, pretty straightforward. It's a big solid stainless steel container with a pickup tube. We fill it with our AC flush, screw it all in, hook it up to our compressor, and at this point we're able to hold this up to our lines, and it'll actually flush the AC flush through the system. You don't want to do your expansion valve. You want to disconnect your compressor, of course, and you don't want to bother going through your condenser, because the condenser has some really small orifices. So it's a little, you won't get much fluid through it. It won't get any of the particles out. It's better to just replace it, get it over with. Definitely don't want to do it through the dryer, because all you're going to do is just push it into the dryer. So had to get this. This will come in handy. Anything else, but whenever we need to flush out tubes and all, comes with a nice rubber tip to where we can hold that up to the line. One important thing, always remember, whenever you use an AC flush, remember, you're spraying into a hose or one of the lines. What's going to happen? It's going to come out somewhere. So always be mindful where it's going to come out. Have heard of stories of people using this, spraying it, and it comes out straight into their face from the exit of the hose or line. So definitely important. Remember where it's going to come out of, what you're spraying in. Now we're going to get to the vacuum pump. It's always important. You're going to have to pull a vacuum whenever you do AC work. Boils off any of the AC flush that's in there. And especially boils off any moisture. Moisture is like, will kill an AC system if you leave it in there. So as you pull a vacuum, it actually boils the water off and will get rid of all the moisture in the lines. So what you're going to want to do is pull a vacuum for about 20 minutes or so, not even that much, maybe 5 minutes. Shut it off, close all your lines, and make sure it holds a vacuum for at least 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. This ensures all of your lines are tight, all of your O-rings are seated properly, and you're going to hold a vacuum on the system for a long period of time. So first off, on this kit, First thing we come out is, this is the AC gauges. I had an old set of gauges, but they're old. The lines were cracking. I didn't really trust the gauges and all anymore. These knobs had broken off, so I ended up getting a kit that included new gauges. Comes with all the fittings. High side, low side, can fitting, and some other fittings. So this will get us started. I do believe we're going to need the new style can fitting, because this no longer will work on a can. Yeah, you no longer actually pierce anything. You have a can fitting with a one-way valve on it. So use that. Got all the lines. Got the gauges. Some instruction manuals. So decent kit. Again, this isn't sponsored. I paid for this with my own money. Bought it through Amazon. Total for the flusher, I believe, was $30. For this vacuum kit was about $125. So definitely not commercial grade. Definitely not something you want to keep, use if you're in a professional setting. But for someone like me working out of my garage, it's perfect as long as it works. So comes with a nice case. Extreme power must mean it's extreme. Nice case to store it all in. Comes with oil. Decently packaged. 110. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of that. And there you have it. I'm going to get it filled with some oil. We'll test it out, make sure it runs, and go from there. Alrighty, so we've got it all set up. What you want to do is fill it above the minimum, below the max, right within the sight glass. Turn it on. Let it run for about 30 seconds. We've got our exhaust cap off. Got our inlet port open. Let it run for 30 seconds. Verify it's sucking. Turn it off. Then we want to come back here. Verify our sight glass is good. After that, we're good. So again, about 125 bucks for this kit. Comes with gauges and a pump. Probably not the best quality, I'm gonna admit, but if it gets me through this project, it'll be well worth it. Far cheaper than taking it to a shop. One thing to note, dealing with refrigerant, you can't just let it go into the atmosphere. So I'm going to be taking the car to a friend of mine at a local shop, and they're going to evacuate the system and reclaim the Freon that's in it. Therefore, I'm not releasing it into the atmosphere. So something very important to do. It is against the law to do that, so I would recommend taking it to a local shop, and they will evacuate the system of all the Freon before you do your repairs. So there's your tool tip. That's what we're going to use for our next repair on the 300. So be sure to like and subscribe this video, and while you're subscribing, you're going to be notified when I post my other video of actually repairing the AC system in this. So looking forward to it. Summer's coming, it's right around the corner, and I'm looking forward to some below 40 is what I'm shooting for AC. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining.